Hello there. You are now watching EfVET Conference Television, and this is EfVET News. Our main headline today is Innovative and Sustainable Future panel discussion is surprisingly done in a different way. EfVET News team met all our speakers in advance and interviewed them in person. Shocking, maybe not. Interesting, most likely. Educational, absolutely. So our guests today: Elsi Katainen, Petri Lempinen, Heikki Helve, Juha Widgren. And now, always brilliant Elsi Katainen.
Hello, hello.
Hello Elsi, so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Welcome to Kuopio,
Thank you.
capital of Eastern Finland.
And thank you for inviting us to your lovely hometown and your home. So Elsi, can you tell me about yourself a little bit?
Well, my name is Elsi Katainen. I am an MEP. I actually live now here in Kuopio, but I have been in a smaller city, Pielavesi, for decades, and we had a dairy farm there, which is
Really?
now run by our son.
Wow.
I've been in European Parliament over 3 years now, and before that I was a member of Finnish Parliament for 11 years. And before that I was a farmer and also a vocational teacher in agriculture. So the natural resources are very near of my heart, and agriculture also, and rural development as well.
Yeah, wow, you have a very interesting career. So you work in a European Parliament.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what it's like to work there?
Well, it's mainly like working in Finnish Parliament, but everything is concerning whole Europe, of course. My main things are agriculture and rural development, and also transport, because those are the committees I'm sitting in. And work is very interesting, very challenging. We have to fight hard for many things and fight for many things. We have excellent colleagues and from 27 different European countries after Brexit. And I think it's a fabulous job. Without traveling, there is too much traveling in my life.
Okay, that's nice. So I'm really looking forward to interview you. So should we go? Which way we go?
Yes, let's go there, but
This
let's
way?
go there, this
Okay.
way. Can I show you our Kuopio's lady, Minna Kant?
Ah, okay.
Maybe we can watch her closely.
Yes.
He was an author and women's rights fighter for women's rights.
Quite a famous person in Finland.
Yes.
So which one do you prefer, Kuopio or Strasbourg?
Kuopio, of course. That was surprisingly.
Easy question, okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking the time to meet with me today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
My name is Janne Jousiaho and I work in Keuda, which is a Finnish vocational education and training provider. I work as a teacher. Right now, our goal is to do a panel discussion for the EfVET virtual conference. And we are doing it a bit differently. So are you ready?
I suppose I am. Yes, I am.
That's good. So, the center party European Union politics are based on responsibility and humanity, What does it mean in practice?
Me and my party thinks the most important thing with EU is peace, stability and humanity. Everything else is based on these bases. We have to do the work to get good single market, international trade, peace, so our outer borders are very important. We have to do work to get young people to have their studies and to get them work. We have to do investments in mitigating climate change, of course. Now it's a topic. But I think that the most important things are also the European values, which all of the member states are not sharing with us, as we know. But I think that humanity, stability, and peace are the most important things.
Thank you. Over 100 years ago, a famous Finnish politician and writer, Santeri Alkio, said that all social and state reform should be based on humanity and its development. This is still quite accurate, wouldn't you say?
These are still very important things. I think Mr. Alkio was very wise to think these big things about Europe. And he really did think about Europe, whole Europe. Sometimes we have to look the past to learn for the future. Those words are still relevant when considering the purpose of society, development and reform. The idea of learning, and you have to learn all the time, is very important, has always been and will be, maybe more than ever, because our working life is changing all the time. When old jobs are going away, new jobs are creating, so we have to have new skills and improve our, for example, digital skills.
Thank you. So Elsie, I know that education is close to your heart. In your point of view, how do we maintain quality education in Europe?
High quality teaching and thus improving learning is important both here in Finland and all over Europe. It would be particularly important to identify the needs of the business community in good time, as well as to work well in the business community to improve predictability. On the other hand, well-working doctrines from all over Europe should also be tried more boldly and even piloted in other countries also. There are indeed many different ways of training in vocational skills in Europe. For example, in Germany, learning takes place more in working places than in Finland, and I think it should be the thing we should think more and use more in Finland. I know the working place has very big responsibility of the students, which are teaching them at the same time, but I think the results would be better.
Yeah, thank you. What is the role of EfVET in lifelong learning systems?
Unfortunately, on a large scale throughout Europe, our population is aging. And this will lead to a labor shortage in many areas. We already have the labor shortage in many jobs. continuous learning offers an opportunity to change and improve your skills and maybe have a new career in some new area. Major changes in society also have their own effects. As we move towards a more sustainable and digital future, some professions will disappear. At the same time, there is a need for the new skills and new value chains which are emerging with new professions. Many jobs also change during one's career, so you have to be always ready to get some new skills. And one important and noteworthy factor is also immigration and the need to train professionals for new professions.
So Elsie, you work in the Parliament, in the Agri and the Tran committees, both of which play a key role in making a sustainable future. Can you tell us what kind of issues you are working on that will make the European Union a pioneer for a sustainable future?
Yes, first of all, the European Union is the most ambitious in the world in fighting against climate change. The targets are set very, very high. Greenhouse gas emission must be cut by at least 55% in the year 2030, and full climate neutrality should be achieved in the year 2050. And we have already done very, very much, so ambitious targets are achievable. To this end, the EU has a new Green Deal development program, the Green Deal, which guides the achievement of the climate goals. These include everything you can imagine: agriculture, transport, industry, mobility, energy, forestry, everything. The committees therefore address sustainable agriculture, sustainable transport, sustainable forest management, as well as reforms and support for sustainable solutions. For example, we are currently working on an EU battery regulation to improve the sustainability of transport of batteries throughout their life cycle.
With the Green Deal, sustainable development is now at the heart of the EU decision making. What would you emphasize, particularly from the point of view of education, that sustainable development can be promoted?
Education is very important background to the new, greener world. In the future, we will need more and more experts and top-notch competence, for example, in agriculture and in forestry and in every area. There are no sector which can't be without deeper skills in the future. And I think the educational world is very known about this, but there is so much to do with the educational world also. I don't know, maybe you tell me what I'm going to do with this, but of course you have to be a cooperation with those sectors I mentioned all the time to improve your educational skills.
Yes, thank you. So before ending this interview, I have a quick fire questions for you. So I need you to answer whatever comes to your mind first. Okay? So what is better, certificates or experience?
Experience.
Library or museums?
Wow. Library.
Face-to-face or online?
face to face.
Challenges or opportunities?
Wow, both and. Challenges, opportunities.
Okay. And last, innovations or traditions?
Innovations. Very hard questions.
Yes, thank you.
Good questions.
And the final question, Elsie. What is your best memory from your school life?
Of course, learning, but also friends, and the friends who are still my friends. If I think about the whole life. And if you have a good teacher, they are the most important people in your life.
Thank you, Elsie.
Thank you.
And next, we will meet truly effective Petri Lempinen.
Hello, Petri.
Hi.
It's nice to meet you. So can you tell me about yourself, your working history perhaps, and I mean, who is Petri Lempinen?
Well, currently I'm working in the Ministry of Education and Culture. I'm the Director General of Vocational Education and Training and the General Upper Secondary Education. And I'm quite new here in the ministry. I started only in May, and before that I've been working almost 30 years with education policies and as a researcher, as a lobbyist. I work in many interest organizations and representing both the labor market, first students, then labor market, and then VET providers and higher education institutions. And so this is what I've been dealing with most of my life. And otherwise, I like to organize parties with my spouse, and we organize often dinners and invite our friends and colleagues. And this is something that was interrupted by this COVID-19 1.5 years ago, and we keep the thumbs up so we can continue.
Thank you. So you work in the Ministry of Education and Culture. What it's like to work here?
It's hectic. We have a huge amount of different issues that we deal with, and in a way, all the days are the same because we have a lot of meetings and we debate the things that we should do, and then we do the necessary preparations. But on the other hand, there is always something new coming up, and this is what makes it interesting. And what is motivating me very much is that we are making the future of this country and this nation, and this is something that gives me thrills.
Yeah, thank you. So where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Oh dear. In 5 years' time, I think I will be working with education policies. Hopefully here.
Okay. Thank you, Petri.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. Our goal here is to do a panel discussion for the EfVET virtual conference. And we are doing it a bit differently. So are you ready?
I hope so.
Good. So this may seem a simple question, but could you tell us about sustainability program that Ministry of Education and Culture have?
Well, it's all based, of course, on the United Nations Sustainability Goals, the Agenda 2030. And then the next level of our implementation comes from the program of the Finnish government, where the sustainability has a very strong role. It refers to our global responsibility, but it also refers to the development of the Finnish society to meet the demands of the future and meet the needs of the people. And at the level of the Ministry of Education, the sustainability, it comes to the operations that we do with education, with culture, with sport and youth policies.
Yes, thank you. What sustainability challenges does your organization face, and more importantly, in EfVET point of view?
I think in vocational education and training, the answer is two-sided. On the other hand, we talk about social sustainability, access to training, access to quality education and training for all people. Vocational education in Finland, it's both for the young people and for the adults. 2/3 of our all students are adults who participate the training annually. And how do we ensure that there is access to all people who need education and training? And this is a way to ensure to fight the questions of poverty, to fight the questions of quality employment, etc. This is one side. And then the other side is that we see the things like the climate change, the environmental disaster that is facing us, that how we cope with these things. And then the answer is that what are the skills that we give people when they participate in education and training, so that when they go to the labor market, they have jobs, they can make the difference for the sake of the humankind.
Yeah, thank you. Finnish EfVET is built on trust and shared responsibility. Could you tell us more about this?
The trust and shared responsibility takes place at many levels. And I would say that the first thing is that there is the shared responsibility between the level of the government, which I'm representing, and the level of the vocational education and training providers, VET schools, VET institutions. And that there's a division of work, there is a division of responsibilities between us, and the local providers, the local schools, institutions, they have a lot of decision-making power, ensuring that they are doing the right things. But then at the centralized level, we take care of the curricula, we take care of the funding, we take care of the necessary legislation to ensure that there is the same level of quality in all country and in all sectors of education and training. Then at the local level, when we can also see that there's not only the autonomy of the institutions, but there is also a lot of autonomy at the level of the teachers. They are responsible for the pedagogical methods that they are using, as long as they follow the national curricula that is set by the state authorities. And this is not only related to the vocational education training, but it's also in the general education. And this is one of the cornerstones of the Finnish education. And then I would like to raise also the shared responsibility, which includes that the strong participation of the labor market actors, the companies, the workplaces, how they provide possibilities for apprentices, on-the-job learning, and also they play a role in the validation of learning.
Yeah, thank you. A good answer. Next question. To reach the United Nations goals in sustainable development, why quality education is so important?
Well, I could say that I've already answered the question. There are two things. We have to give possibilities for a better life to all of the people. And the key tool for making this reality is education.
Yeah.
And secondly, when we think about the question that how world is changing, what is happening in the environment, what is happening in the climate, it's obvious that we need to have new skills so that we can cope with these huge problems that are threatening the existence of our species and existence of the life on our planet. And when we need new skills, it all comes back to the education, it all comes back to the research.
Thank you. So 2018, the Finnish vocational education and training was invented almost all over again. So how is EfVET doing today?
I hope it's doing well. Of course, currently we are still living in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, which interrupted a lot of education activities. It closed down businesses and made it impossible to organize the learning at workplaces. And to be honest, we don't know what the consequences will be. But otherwise, I think what we did in 2018 when we got the new legislation is that we wanted to emphasize the individual learning pathways.
Yeah.
So all students have possibility to have his, her own path towards the degree. We have wanted to bring a lot of flexibility in creating individual degrees, possibilities to unite contents from different fields if that is necessary, and this relates very much to the needs of the adult learners, to the needs of the employers, and then maybe the situation is a little bit different when we talk about the 16-year-old students who come from the compulsory school. And we have also tried to strengthen the cooperation with the working life, the practical cooperation in provision of the education and training. And I hope that our network of providers and also our businesses will show the commitment to rebuild this cooperation after the COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you. Lifelong and continuous learning are important values in EfVET. How does innovative and sustainable future merge with these values?
I hope they merge well. One of the key factors is that all vocational qualifications give eligibility to continue studies in higher education. So whatever educational choices you made at the age of 15, it doesn't hinder you achieving your educational goals as high as you want. And you don't have to do it all when you are young. You can also do it when you are adult. And one important thing from the point of view of continuing education, continuing learning, is that you can always come back from the working life to learn more. And our system is catering this very much. And I think this is important, and this links with the sustainability goals, is that when we have new challenges as a society or as humans, we need to learn new skills, and then it's important that we keep the system open. And this way, I think that the sustainability and the continuing learning, they shake hands.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. How does the financing of vocational education and training work in Finland?
Oh, it's very complicated. In principle, we have this kind of funding machine, which is based on a number of indicators. But the basic principle is that there is some basic funding based on the volume of a VET provider. And this is about 70% of all the funding that the provider gets. And then the rest is based on the performance of the providers, which means that we follow how many qualifications come out and what happens to the students after they graduate, whether they get employed or if they continue in the higher education, and these are the things that are counted in. And then the whole amount of the money that is divided by this system, it's always, of course, it comes from the state budget, and the funding, it's public funding all. We don't have tuition fees, and
I think
this is in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So before ending this interview, I have a quick fire questions for you. So I need you to answer whatever comes to your mind first. So what is better, certificates or experience?
Oh my God. At my age, I could say experience, because most of I know I've learned after my diploma. But when I think about my kids, who are young adults, I would say that certificate is also. So I can't really make the.
Okay.
I don't want to take this decision.
Okay. Library or museum?
Library.
Face-to-face or online?
Face-to-face.
Challenges or opportunities?
Opportunities.
Innovations or traditions?
Innovations.
Thank you. And the final question. What is your best memory from your school life?
I think one of the most meaningful memories is that when I was 14, in the 8th grade, one of my teachers said to me, stopped by my desk and said that, you know, Petri, if you don't take responsibility on your studies, nobody else will do it. And I think that was something, I didn't realize it immediately, but then when I was entering the last year of the compulsory school, then I realized that I have two choices. I can hang around the rest of my life, or I can try to get good grades and then continue my studies, which I did. And in a way, it was very meaningful when I think about what has happened in my life, and I'm grateful for that teacher.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
And now it's time to meet highly respected Heikki Helve.
Hello, Heikki.
Hello.
So nice to meet you.
Same, and warmly welcome to Kuopio.
Thank you.
As you can see, Kuopio is a very sunny place.
Oh yes, and thank you for inviting us here. So could you tell me a little bit about yourself? I mean, who is Heikki Helve?
Oh, I'm pleased to do that. So this is my home area where I have born, but I have been somewhere else before returning here to my home area. So after I graduated from the university, I started to do my postgraduate studies, and I was the researcher in the university, which takes me to Vienna, Austria. I was there visiting research in Wirtschaft University at Vienna. And that time Finland joined the EU, and I started to study what is the collaboration in regional development. And that brings me to the Commission in Brussels, and I spent there for a while, and I worked in the one DG section there. And when I finished my licentiate dissertation, I went to work to the regional council as an EU coordinator. So I have worked a lot with the EU programs and regional development. And then I went to the University of Kuopio. I was there the developing manager of the university and responsible to develop the influence to the region what the universities can have. And after that I went to the city of Kuopio. I was the development director of the city, and then I went to be managing director of the our science parks developing company, Kuopio Innovation Ltd. And from there I took my job, what I'm doing now, leading this Savo Education consortium, and I'm very happy to be here because this is challenging, positive way challenging every day. It's nice to work here and make the real concrete work with this region and to develop this area. But please join our school.
Yeah, thank you. So, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. Our goal here is to do a panel discussion for the EfVET virtual conference. And we are doing it a bit differently. So, are you ready?
I am.
What does quality education mean to you?
Quality in education means several things. First and most important is that the students can have the updated education which have all the reflection from the need of the working life, what is needed today and tomorrow. So we can encourage them to study in the aim to have a job in the future. And this is not all. The quality of the education is that our equipments are modern one, the student environment are safe and modern, and we can use different kind of new technologies in this environment. But the most important to use this in premises is that our teachers are highly educated to give the education what is needed today and tomorrow and further on. And that's our promise to our students, that they will have the safety environment, modern education, and it's given by our teachers. And those teachers are educated to give them all this information what is needed. And we can evaluate and follow the results of the education. And if we can see something which we need to do better, we are very, very short moment to reflect this feedback and improve our education. So that way we can take care of education, quality, and the need of the working life every day, every morning, every evening for our students. So when the students come to us, we guarantee that they will have the results what is needed in the working life tomorrow and further on.
Yeah, thank you. To reach the goals in sustainable development, what kind of challenges comes to your mind as a VET point of view?
There's several things. First is how we do ourselves. What kind of actions and rules and methods we are using in our schools. Because we have to work like an example for our students, what this sustainable development means and what kind of action it's needed to do that. And therefore it's very important that we have our own strategy to develop sustainable development in our own premises, on our education, and that our staff are skilled to do that. So this is the first point, how we do it ourselves. And the second one is how we reflect the need of the environmental issues from the working life. For example, companies, what kind of needs they have. And very important point is that do they know the needs for the future? Because we have lots of students and they make practice in the companies, in the public sector, in third sector. So what new impacts we can offer to working life of this topic of sustainable development. So it's very important that we give the feedback for them and we listen carefully what is needed from the daily life from the companies and find the answers for that. So there's the both way, how we do it ourselves, are we skilled enough to do it, what is needed in the future, and the other one is what is needed in the surrounding environment and companies and working life. Listen them and give them the feedbacks. So then when this dual action works nicely, it's easy to develop these topics, and it's very, very important. Therefore, we have select our strategical aim that we are creating the sustainable future. And it's very important that our education in all fields, what we have, offers this kind of knowledge to our students.
Thank you. What is the role of innovations in education and training?
Basically, the whole training and education is part of the innovation system. Without the innovations in education, our development doesn't going well. So we need to think what kind of new things we can do, what are the new technologies, and education organizations should be encouraged to test something new technologies, something new methods, how it works, and what kind of skills our students will have, that they are one or two steps further than the daily working life. And therefore we have to find new technologies, new equipments, and to method to teach them and offer very skilled labor force to companies or public sector, that they have created something new at school. If we just follow that, okay, working life is asking this, and we don't know what it is, it takes 3 to 5 years to develop our knowledge to answer this need. So this is not what we want. We want it to have that we can offer that this is the skills what you will need in 2 or 3 years, and we are teaching this to our students today. And you will have a benefit if you change your production lines or technologies or updated your staff's knowledge, because we are not giving only the basic education, we have the further education. We have students from 16 to 65 years old, so there's a large range of students, and we can offer them the skills to update the knowledge what is needed to stay at work. Not only that in the future what is needed, but stay at work today. And the basic education, of course, it have to be very, very modern, and we have to have a courage to do it.
Thank you. Savo Consortium for Education is one of the largest providers of vocational education and training in Finland. How do you ensure innovative and sustainable future?
We are responsible to educate vocational staff in our region, and this region is around 250,000 people. And we have very close connect to companies and the public sector, what is the need for education. So this discussion between the region and our organization is very essential to make the future. And we have heard so many needs, and we are looking around the world what are the new tendencies of the education in Finland, worldwide. So we wanted to develop our aim to take care of this sustainable development and new innovations in our actions. And we have organized our team for sustainable development, and we have in every field of education, we have named the person who have been educated for these topics, sustainable development. How to develop this topic in the daily education, how to develop that topic in our own work. And we have the 3 persons who coordinate the sustainable development action in our organization. And they are doing every day the work, evaluate, make the new innovations, how to calculate the results, what kind of food step we create, and what kind of hand step we make. And this hand step, I mean that what kind of positive effects we can achieve when we are doing this sustainable development with our students, and that way create the new knowledge and new skills in our regions in working places. So it's daily work, it's strategical choice, and this strategical choice need that we organize our work in organization level and in every topics of education. We have named the person, we have put a target, and we will follow and evaluate it all the time and have a fluent discussion between the region and our organization every day.
You have 117 different vocational qualifications. Can you give one practical example how responsibility and sustainability are taken into account?
We have several, but you asked one.
Yes.
So one example is that we have select all the education fields, and this time, for example, this forest education, and the teachers and other staff have evaluated what are the needs for sustainable development in the future and what we will promise to our students. And we have done the simple list of the topics, what all our students, what skills they will have when they graduate from our organization. And this list of these topics and skills, what we promised them to have, is made together with the specialist of the sustainable development of our organization. And we have promised that you will know this and this and this thing before you graduate. And we have promised to our teachers that they will have the skill to teach them. So we have continuing education for our teachers to do that. So it's dual collaboration. Teachers and the students, they know what we need, they know what we have promised, and the companies, for example, they know that when they hired our students, they have skills for sustainable development already, what is needed in the future. And of course the needs will change all the time. So we have guaranteed that the further education will be given by us in this topic. So when they graduate, it's not the end, it's just the beginning, but they have the basic knowledge of these topics. Sustainable development is our strategical choice, and it's needed to make it better future. And for example, this forest field, they know so many things, and it's nowadays every day more or less there's the question, what's the future of the forest and what's the sustainable forest industry and so on. So our students have the skills to answer these questions.
Thank you. A good answer. So, before ending this interview, I have a quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
So I need you to answer whatever comes to your mind first.
Okay.
So, what is better, certificates or experience?
Experience.
Library or museum?
Library, if I have to select.
Face-to-face or online?
Face-to-face, always, I loved it.
Challenges or opportunities?
Challenges.
Innovations or traditions?
Innovation.
And the final question, What is your best memory from your school life?
So many. I like to be at school, but one pop up my mind shortly. There was a teacher, very charmatic teacher, and we grew up flowers when I was around 10, 11 years old, and that was part of our biological education course in elementary school. And we grow up flowers, we take care of them, and when there was the last day of the spring, we can select the huge package of flowers what we have grown ourselves. So we saw what we have done, and that reminds us throughout the summer what we have done, and we took care of them. That was the whole our class did that together. So doing something together and you will have the clear results and bring them home. That was a very nice way to teach and learn.
Yeah. Thank you, Heikki.
Thank you.
Now, Savo Vocational College teacher Jari Kolehmainen will tell us a little bit more about the forestry studies in Kuopio.
So Jari, we are now in the middle of the forest, so this looks very interesting. Could you tell me where we are and what is going on here?
At the moment we are in Siilinjärvi, Toivala, where is one campus of Savo Vocational College, and it looks like that we are in the middle of the forest, but the nearest road is about 400 meters away from here. This is one of our benefits, that we are located in a very central place, but still we have nature very near us. In this campus we are training, for example, forestry workers, manual workers, forwarder drivers, harvester drivers, and people who are working with environmental issues. About 300 students, adults and young students. And one of our benefits is that in this branch students get free meal, free meals, free accommodation, free working clothes. Everything is free in this forestry branch, and that has been quite a good factor in achieving students here in Toivala. And also employer markets are very good at this moment. Within forestry there's high demand of harvester and forwarder drivers and manual workers. So after graduation all students, if they are capable of working, they will get a job if they want to work within forestry. And as in all parts of society also, we have here in forestry very high demand of knowing things, doing in a sustainable way. And in forestry training we take care of sustainability in many different ways. For example, we have new technology, new machines. We use bio-oils, biofuels, even chainsaws. We have few which are working with battery, not fuel, benzene, but batteries. And we are trying to train students to operate machines in a very economical way, thinking about avoiding chemical risks, and working safety is very important when we are working with machines and chainsaws. And sorting of waste, we consider that very high factor in forestry, that we are not, for example, leaving any garbage on forests and oils and that kind of things. In general, we are trying to train people to use new technology in an economical way and thinking about sustainability in that sense. And for example, when using machines, they should consider how to drive, for example, to consume as less fuel as possible and that kind of things. And in forestry work, we follow national forest management rules, certificates, think about game management, threatened species as they are doing in a real working life, because we don't have any, let's say, playgrounds where we are doing our work immediately when we work in the forest, for example, with machines and chainsaws. We are working in real forests. Someone owns that forest and has sold the timber, for example, to some company, and we are one part in that chain of doing that work. And of course then we have to follow same way all certification and rules as they are doing in companies. And we do very close cooperation with local contractors. For example, contractor can do the harvesting work and we do take care of the short distance transportation to the roadside, and forest management work with the clearing. So for example, we are doing in real forests, not just our own forest. So it's real working life immediately when we go to forest with the students. So that's why we have to take care of sustainability in every action what we are doing, and try to motivate students to use everything as they should do in a real working life. And so.
Thank you, Jari. That was a very interesting answer.
Thank you.
And finally, peerless visionary Juha Widgren.
Sitten sitä voisi, missähän me ollaan?
Hello,
Hello Juha.
welcome to Vieremä City.
Thank you and nice to be here.
Good to have you here.
So Juha, could you tell me a little bit about yourself? I mean, who is Juha Widgren?
Well, I'm working here first of all in Ponsse, and I'm one of the owners of the Ponsse with my brothers. We have a stock company, but still 60% is owned by the family.
Okay.
The company was founded by my father Einari, and my work actually is to work with our employees, customers. Usually we have in normal year about 4,000 visitors in the factory.
Oh.
And that is one of the big work what I have. And also exhibitions, meet our own customers worldwide in every subsidiary or every dealer we have. So it's quite busy, but I like it.
Yeah.
First of all, because we can be here in small countryside village.
Okay.
Just like the machines here.
Yeah,
We need
okay.
to check them first, and then we go to logging site to the forest. So that keeps us busy normal days.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like a plan. So Juha, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. Our goal here is to do a panel discussion for the EfVET conference, and we are doing it a bit differently. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So Juha, this is a truly an interesting company. Could you tell us about history of Ponsse?
My father Einari Widgren, he was a contractor here in this area, and we are living in northern part of Savo, and this is mainly for forestry. What comes about people to work in 1940s, 50s, and 60s. It's full of agriculture here, and forestry gave a good opportunity for people to work beside of the countryside in 1940s. After the wartime, there was over 400,000 Finnish people who were working in the wintertime in the logging sites. And they were working for the forest companies who organized the work in the forest, and my father was one of them. And soon he noticed that, okay, working with the horse is not the best possible, so when the first farm tractor came, he bought the farm tractor. He started to be a contractor himself in 1960s, and all of a sudden he started to buy forest machines which came to market in the 1960s, mid in 1960s. He bought these machines, but the problem was that the quality was very bad and they broke all the time. So all the money he get from the business, he need to put it to the spare parts and repairing. And then end of the 1960s, he was thinking that, hey, let's build a one machine which lasts, no service for 2 weeks. So he came to here, he built in the local blacksmith hall the first version of the machine, which was a very reliable, and that machine get the name Ponsse. And the Ponsse name came after a local hunting dog. The hunting dog was a mixed breed. It was very low, it was very long, it was very ugly, but very effective when you went to hunting for the rabbit. and everybody in the village know the dog. So finally, when he was building that first machine, he take apart from different machines, different components he put together, so it really looked like mixed breed machine. So when the first local saw the machine, when they drive it outside in 1969, he said, "What kind of Ponsse is that?" Because it remains like the dog. So my father took the name for the local dog. The machine was reliable, and later in 1970, he went to the local county here in Vieremä, asked that is it possible that if you build a hall to his business, so he could start building these new forest machines. And now we are here. It was 330 square meter hall where they started 1970, and now we have like 5 hectares of hall in the same place. And from here we are now building the machines to 45 different countries. So that was the history background how we started as a company.
Yeah, thank you. So in the minds of Finnish people, Ponsse is the most reputable company in Finland in 2021. Has famous Ponsse spirit something to do with it?
I believe so, because the reputation what you get is, of course, they look about how the company is taking care economical way, what is our answers for modern technologies, how we develop the machines, R&D, how we do the big things when we are building these machines. But also, I think we have a reputation as a company working here in the forests. Forestry is very challenging. We have long distances, we are operating in Siberia, Brazil, and how we take care of these machines. And the Ponsse way to work is that our values are that everybody in company, we are in the same level. So in Finland, it's a quite common way here in countryside that, hey, when you do your work, your reputation is good, and when you take care of your neighbor and your employees, I think this kind of reputation just grow, just like inside a company, and that Ponsse spirit is very much about.
So, one of your company values is innovations. How strongly does Ponsse invest in innovativeness?
It's a good question. We can see innovations two ways. The first and mainly thing what people see is that how we make the innovation to our machines or our services. And today, like we have a computer inside every machines, we can share the information inside the machines to the forest companies, sawmills, and so on. So we have a lot of technology inside. And these kind of innovations are coming more and more as we can see how fast the technology is now going ahead. It's everywhere. And also what we can bring inside the machine is the one innovation as a one level of the innovations. But the main thing is that how we can help the customer make his business better. Even how much we make innovations, it doesn't matter if we cannot help the customer make his business better. So we really need to focus sometimes a lot that, hey, we can have this kind of innovations coming, technology coming, but hey, look after that the customer will manage in his business. But also innovation, what we see, also as an educational way for our employees. Everybody of us, 1,800 Ponsse people working in the company, plus our partners, the everyday innovation is that how can I improve my work, or how I can improve the environment where I'm working with safety, effective way, or money-wise. And this is what we really call about innovations. Everybody's individual way to look after his work. And for example, we need to look after our environment. Climate change is here, and we need to look after even what I can do when I come to work. If my neighbor is working with me, do we drive with 2 cars to work, or do we go together? And I think this is an innovation already, even we don't talk about that way. Innovations when you come to work, how we can improve 5 minutes per day to do better our work, or even 1 minute per day. Do we have the tools on the right place? And if you can see this kind of things, what you can improve in your work, that's what I call innovations. Taking responsibility of the work, what we do together. And that is how we see as a wide range, how we call about innovations. So technical side and everyday life.
Yeah, thank you. So let's talk about sustainable development. What kind of challenges does Ponsse face in that area?
Sustainability is the big thing for us. First of all, our machines operate in the forest, and discussion about use of forest and use of trees is a big thing nowadays. But for us, the forests, they are solution for climatic change, not the problem. And as we can see our machines, we can do very environmental friendly operations already in the forest. And one thing what we already can see by the machines is that we have 8-wheel machines more and more. The ground pressure is much lower. Yeah. So even the weight of the machine is 22 tons, for example.
Yeah.
The ground pressure is not even so bad as I'm walking in the forest with my 105 kilos. Oh, wow. Because I go really deep with my step, but yeah, not with these machines. And the other thing is also that when we operate with our machines in the forest, in Finland we have had this long tradition of cut-to-length technology. It means that every tree, we use every part of the tree.
Yes.
We don't waste. So every tree we cut is really calculated, careful. Then we have computer in the machines. It gets the information of daily work, and then we can send the information to forest company or sawmills, so they can see that they can get exactly the amount of trees, amount of exact length that they can use and make the products. And also the sustainability, what we see is the wooden products. Wooden building, everybody knows that we should have it more.
Yeah.
And that way also, when we calculate in the forest the right measures for the trees, we can optimize the log building, for example, building a wooden constructions. And then the other thing is the packaging industry. More and more we need wood-based packaging comparing to plastic, and that will be the big change. And also we have a biofuel or biomass energy what is needed. So yeah, that is also coming from the forest. So with this side, we see that the forest is the solution for the climatic change, not the problem. And with our machines, with the technology what we use in these machines, we can help to do it even a better way to save the forest, not waste. And that is the big thing in our operations. And of course the factory itself, yeah, how we build, how we recycle here, and that is the big thing what we really have. And the machine itself, we just have made a calculation that how much we use the parts after the machine has gone end of the career. So yeah, we can rebuild those parts and use them as another 10, 20 years. So this kind of thinking is very common for our way to work.
Yeah, thank you. So what does sustainable future mean to Ponsse?
For us, it's the most important thing, because our machines, like I said, we operate in the forest. The sustainability need to be in our everyday action, in every level. How we design the machines, how we build the machines, how we deliver the machines all over the world, how they operate in the forest, how the operators can do the right kind of work with these machines. And sustainability, it brings, of course, the challenges in many ways. For example, how long we have fuel in these machines, when we should turn to electricity.
Yes.
But just like in every industry, the car industry goes first, then it's the trucks, then there's the tractors, and in the end there's the forest machines. Okay. But we will see that day, one day, that we have something else that what we have today in these engines.
Yeah, thank you. What about cooperation with vocational education and training? What kind of values you recognize there?
We have noticed the best part, like here in Ponsse, that doing cooperation and looking together the strength what we can have in locally. We can reach a lot of more new employees, we can reach better learning, better for the students, way to come to the work. And for example, in Ponsse we have Ponsse Path. So already in the first year they can come to Ponsse, they choose the line to come here. They have also here in local vocational school opportunities to go different companies. Yeah. But while they choose Ponsse, they come to us. They start to go together with our employees, that they give the guidance to them, their way to work in different ways here in Ponsse. And after third year, they know if Ponsse is the good place to work, and we know if they want to come to work, we can choose them.
Yeah.
So they can concentrate from the very beginning. Also here, beside of Ponsse, we have 6 companies that they produce the parts to us. So with these companies, we have also one classroom. The students can come to here and they can go to work to these companies. And they can have a really different way to work every day or in every month or every period they are training here. So together we have created a very strong way for the students to come inside the working life, study in the same time, but also get the focus to working in the very beginning when they come to the school.
Yeah, thank you. Before ending this interview, I have a quick fire questions for you. So I need you to answer whatever comes to your mind first. So what is better, certificates or experience?
Experience.
Library or a museum?
Museum.
Face-to-face or online?
Face to face.
Challenges or opportunities?
Challenges.
Innovations or traditions?
Traditions.
So the last question for you, what is your best memory from your school life?
My school life, I have the best memory when I was a teacher, because my education is Master of Education, so I'm a teacher of elementary school children, just like here in factory.
Yeah.
But we have 1,800 students here. So the best memories was when I was working 1 year in a local village school with 30 students and 2 teachers.
Yes.
And the other teacher, she was the older lady who take care of the principal of the school. And the best memory was that every morning the children came to shake hand, look your eyes and say, good morning, good morning. So we were learning the values, how to live and how to meet the people in every morning. And that happened in that school every morning. We could know how the children were doing, they know how we are doing, and it's same here in working life. The most important thing is to meet the people face to face, not to start the training immediately or start to talk about the work, but little bit listen more that how your family, how we are doing, should we develop something, should we have some hobbies to do, because we are living still here as a one big village.
Yes.
And we should do it together here, everyday actions. And this was the best part of memory from my school life, how to meet people every morning.
Thank you, Juha.
Thank you.
Today we have seen exclusive interviews, and I do hope that we all learned something valuable. Innovations and sustainability isn't just complicated technology. Innovative and sustainable future could also be simply doing things differently. Simple as that. In a little while, all the speakers will be online to answer your questions live. So stay tuned. This is EfVET News. Thank you and goodbye.